Hello and welcome to day two of the Arn and Eddie Euro experience. I'm Eddie Sideburns, joining me in a lovely looking Inter Milan top with an
Oh yes.
awful logo is Arn Furious.
If you ignore
Um,
this bit, it's really nice.
yeah, it looks real nice. It's like a mixture of everything that they've had
Yeah,
before.
they've got bits and pieces all over the place. There's like a bit of the actual traditional thing here, and it's really nice. I'm a
Yeah.
big fan.
Yeah, it looks good. So day two is over. Of the European Championships 2020, with a massive asterisk over it being 2021. Um, so on. I'm gonna kind of just say first things first. Get over. Well, not get over and done with, but just kind of talk about it.
Yeah,
Um, so Wales, Switzerland. We didn't watch a lot. I didn't watch any of it. You've seen a couple of highlights, so we can get basically the quick questions on that was what were your thoughts quickly?
it's going to be very quick. I saw like 2 minutes of highlights because I was at work when it happened. So Wales and Switzerland, it looked like Switzerland probably should have won the game. My friend who watched it basically said Braylon Bolo looked dangerous throughout, and they probably should have been ahead before they did score. But somehow it's ended up a draw. I think I saw somebody else tweet that the Welsh keeper was man of the match. So
Yeah,
you can kind of get the
I'd so,
the idea based
I'd
on that.
saw that I saw that Wayne Hennessy got sat down for Danny Ward, which is a
Mm.
bit of a risky decision, but obviously
He
seems to have
made
pulled
some
off.
really good saves. I mean, from what I saw, made some really top saves and kept them in the game.
Yeah,
And
I
that could
mean,
be a very important point for Wales. I feel like second place is there. I know we said that Turkey will be better in the other games, but Rob, Sweden utterly outplayed them. So yeah,
there we go.
it could be a key point for them though. I feel like second place is there. It is gettable. Switzerland obviously will think that as well. So I mean, for both of them, it's not a terrible result, but for Switzerland, they'll probably think they should have won that.
Yeah, I think we'll be. I think that league is very. I think that group is very wide open. In terms of everyone other than Italy. It is just a fight for who is going to. I know there's a VAR decision as well. Obviously, Rob saying there
Yeah,
should be a penalty.
no, they scored a goal near the end, which was offside, which it was offside.
Okay. Yeah, we'll probably. I'm sorry we haven't been able to cover in a lot of it.
That's fine. We
We'll
did see
try.
the game, so
We'll try and cover a bit more. I think
it will happen.
we're not. Again, we're not. We're again. We do apologize. We will try and watch stuff when we can. We're only human after all. Um, let's kind of talk about it then, because it's the elephant. It's not the elephant in the room. It's a massive situation that we're very lucky to be
I
talking
would,
about.
yeah.
Not
We're
unlucky
gonna,
to be talking about, but
yeah. So we're gonna talk about Christian Eriksen. Honestly, I was just head in hands horrified. You don't want that to happen anywhere, let alone in a football game in front of 25,000 fans. It's not good. I don't know what the circumstances are behind it. I'm sure that'll come out in the coming days. The good news is he was fine eventually, but it was absolutely horrifying. I don't know what else to say. I was in bits though. I was absolutely in bits. I've always liked Christian Eriksen as a player. I'm wearing an Inter Milan shirt. Obviously, I've really enjoyed his football since he's played there. His work for Denmark's always been exemplary. He's a fantastic playmaker. He kind of links up everything in that holding that number 10 role that he plays in. He's always been a phenomenal footballer, and just to see that was just his wife, especially being there, was it was horrible.
and I think both of us would want to just say I think a huge respect and a completely utterly amazing job that not only the medics did, but his teammates, making sure that the captain Simon
Yeah,
Kjaer
so he was over. He was checking to make sure he hadn't swallowed his tongue, and
started heart massages.
they probably
Roman Reich,
saved his life there. The referee also, Anthony Taylor, did a superb job of getting the game stopped immediately, getting the medics on. But the good thing about having a heart attack in a football stadium is there is always an ambulance there in case a player is seriously hurt. That's the only real positive I can think of for Christian Eriksen, and that he's now seems to be okay. He's like awake and communicating with people. But yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, and I think the obviously speaking to obviously apparently the whole rumbling is that Ericsson got to speak to his teammates over the kind of FaceTime. They made the decision to play
Yeah.
and carry on. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, come on now, they've decided, they made that decision. Yeah, Kjar's probably massively affected by that, and I think a lot of those players are going to be massively affected by it for probably the rest of the tournament, I would say. But I think just
If you
it's
just
just
look at the
massive.
reaction, you look at the reactions of the Danish players when Ericsson was getting treatment on the field. They really did come together. They had that sense of unity to come and surround him to make sure that people couldn't see what was going on. But it's gonna really affect the mentality of the players. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to go back on. I'll give you an example. When I was at work, and this is not the same, but it's similar. When I was at work once, one of my friends basically pulled the cage on top of himself and broke his leg. Had an ambulance come to him, took him to hospital. He was off for like 6 months with it, and that was bad enough. And I was working in a shop, so I was working in a supermarket. I had to go back to work, and I struggled that day because I knew that my friend had got hurt. For these guys to have to watch one of their teammates nearly die on the pitch, the mental effects of that were in evidence.
Yeah, and again, I think they just did an amazing job coming together. You could see the fans chanting at the end of when obviously everything was kind of a bit more made clearer. The Finland fans and the Denmark fans, and just showing all that love for each other.
No, it was
And
great to see.
and it's just the entire world coming together and just kind of everyone putting football to the side and just supporting Christian Eriksen was just unbelievable, and it was really good to see.
What particularly got to me was when the game was stopped, all the fans stayed in the stadium, and they had the Finnish fans were chanting Christian, and then the Danish fans were finishing with the retort, which is like Eriksen.
Yeah,
and they were just sat there doing that for a while, and the video of that is what really got me.
do you know what? I know I said we wouldn't talk about it, but I think I kind of want to see Ivan's comment here that I've just seen. Yes, I do think the international coverage was the international the footage that was sent out and the director. I know I've seen people saying, "Oh, but in a decision or a moment like that, you kind of make mistakes and you kind of
Yeah,
you're not thinking too much." There's still a part where these big companies like BBC and stuff like that should have just cut to either a wide shot of the stadium or cut to the studio. I said we weren't going to.
Okay, so as somebody who's done media, I would have stuck with it at the start because you don't know what's wrong. So when the paramedics came onto the pitch, you couldn't tell what was wrong. But when they started doing CPR, that's the point at which that shouldn't be on television.
There were close-ups at the moment, and immediately it was like turning the screen, and people were like,
"Yeah, I mean, he was clearly really like badly hurt." At that point, you shouldn't be showing it.
Yeah, and I mean, cut to the NSA. There was even parts where obviously a lot of things were out of order, like for example, obviously, showing his wife and that kind of that's just because that's going to break anyone's heart. So I think that stuff was out of order.
Yeah, well, we've got Mort, who's Danish in our group chat, and he said that the Danish TV broadcast, they went straight out. They didn't show any of the stuff that we saw internationally. Wouldn't have been hard to do that, I don't think. But then when they went to the studio, being a host, I mean, I felt bad for Gary Lineker and for the guys in the studio because that's not what they're there for. They're not
Alex,
trained for that kind of thing.
Alex Scott looked heartbroken. She was in tears. She was
Yeah.
almost in tears. And it's that thing where it's like, if it's kind of like, what is that situation? Do you cut to a full? Do you cut to studio? Are they going to break down in the studio? No, because they will try. If they're upset, then they'll take the camera off them and they'll focus on whoever the presenter is. Yes, it is 100% a tough job. I felt for Kasper Schmeichel, especially because of obviously the instance that he has seen, like from the incident with the owner of his club, and almost seeing something like that. It's heartbreaking. And when obviously, so they suspended the game. They then, where it was a while, we didn't know what was happening. As soon as we found out that Ericsson was stable, they carried on and the game started.
Yeah,
The game
apparently
started back up again.
so he FaceTimed the team and said, "I want you to play. I want you to go out there and play." So it was their choice to go out there and do it. And
the game
I
ended.
don't know how else they would have fixed that situation though, because it's not like this is a tournament where you can just move the game somewhere else. There's no big gaps in between. It wasn't ideal. But then I'm not going to say that the Danish players' hearts weren't in it, because they were. But you can't stay focused on what you're doing after something like that's happened.
For the first 5 minutes, for the final 4 minutes they played of the second half, it was clearly played at this first half. It was clearly played at a different pace. It was just very much slow, very much just kind of everyone's just kind of trying to get through it. They took their 5 minute half time, and then they just went back straight into it. And Finland obviously ended up winning 1-0. Denmark had a penalty saved.
I didn't know that they've been offered the chance to finish it either today or tomorrow. But obviously, then you've got the whole business of the fans now, getting the fans back in. The fans already there. I think they just wanted to finish it and get it out of the way. It's horrible. It's a horrible situation to watch one of your friends, one of your teammates to go through that. I think he's fine, but I hope he makes a full recovery.
We still, as I say, it's good to be hearing the things we're hearing. As soon as we get more information, it'll be even, it'll be better to hear. I say I'm just gonna. I don't think there's. I really don't think there's much to talk about in terms of football with this, because it's a lot has.
No, well, there was the one goal. I thought it was a good header from Pojan Parlo. Commentators were kind of blaming Schmeichel for it, saying like his head wasn't in it, but it was a really good header.
I also think the penalty as well, the penalty that Denmark got, I think there were, as soon as the keeper saved, as soon as Hideki saved that penalty, the Danish player's head just went right down. He almost and you felt so bad for them during it. You knew that they were trying to do their best, and they wanted obviously to carry on and honor obviously what Krishnan has said to them apparently, but it was just one of those games where you just felt so.
It's just a horrible situation. You don't want to be seeing that. And we're gonna at some point we will do a podcast about this. And there was a tweet from goalkeeper. I've forgotten his name again.
Asmir Begovic.
Tweeted out that players are subject to injuries because they play too many games. And there's far too much pressure and stress put upon them because they're playing too much. And I've been saying this for years. There's too many teams in the top flights. There's too much football being played. I think it's a problem, and it's something that I think the big leagues need to address. There don't need to be as many games as any of the big leagues play. I think the possible exception is the Bundesliga, because it is a shorter league. But everyone else, they need to get the numbers in the league down.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying they're going to be, this is the same kind of, 1 year, every year there's going to be they're trying to do every year a World Cup.
As Athens is saying, this year is just, the schedule was insane this year. You look at all the players that are missing through injuries and the stress that this season and this year has put on these players. Obviously, it's going to be a mental strain as well, because every one of them will have gone through something away from the pitch as well as what they've done on it. So
Yeah, and there was part of me that said there was part of me, and I asked whether we think the Belgium Russia game was going to carry on, and the only reason why I thought it maybe shouldn't have went on or maybe wouldn't is because if you look at the Belgium lineup, numerous of those players obviously are former teammates or current teammates of Ericsson. So, COVID has definitely obviously this was a COVID season where I think a lot of people and players and teams would have known that it was going to be a massively affected fixture. It was going to be there was going to be fixture congestion
yeah.
all the season. I think that was something that we knew about.
Well,
because we need to get everything,
Let's talk about Russia and Belgium. I'm not going to dwell on it too much because my mind wasn't on the game. I drew up my little tactics board thing here, and this is how they lined up. And
okay, so
particularly want to talk through it.
So first things first, did both teams line up the way you expected them to?
Yeah, I mean, let me get my tactics board. So Russia went in with a flat back four with a couple of holding players in front and then a three. From what I could see, the three kind of turned into a five at times, which is to be expected. Belgium came in with the back three, which my big question mark about Belgium in this tournament is what they were going to do at the back. If they played a back four, I thought they were going to be in trouble.
Okay.
Because you've got, I can't remember which one's which, but you've got Vertonghen and you've got Alderweireld here. And they're not the quickest. But what they did is they played in between them. They put Dedrick Boyata in there to kind of do all this business of running around and doing the actual speedy work behind the two slower players. And that worked. So Russia didn't really trouble them that much. Going forwards, this is a pretty understrength team. You've got, this is Thorgan Hazard out here. Castaigne played at right wing back. So he was kind of the more defensive one of the two, which is why I've got him a little bit further back. But yeah, there's no De Bruyne. Tielemans played in central midfield, but there was no Witsel. So this is, I've forgotten who that is. No, there's no Witsel.
What number is it?
19, number 19.
Den Donker.
Den Donker, of course he did. Den Donker played. And up front, really, of the front three, Mertens, I guess, has kind of deteriorated a little bit. But you've got Lukaku, the number 9. Lukaku, for me, was the difference between these two teams. Belgium, in general, were better, but Lukaku was absolutely world-class in this game. I felt like he scored as many goals as he wanted to.
I saw a lot of Man United fans kind of ruining and still wondering what happened between why they couldn't get the best out of Lukaku.
Bad manager.
That's
all I'm putting that down to.
Yes, and I mean obviously they had Castaigne came off after 27 minutes, and then Meunier came on and Meunier scored. The Thomas Vermaelen, who I'm surprised is still playing, even though I think we already discussed this before. Playing.
Yeah, I thought he'd retired, to be fair, but yeah, he's still there.
Number 18 of Russia, as Ivan McGann has mentioned, Yuri Zirkov, 37 going on 54.
Yuri Zirkov's been around forever, hasn't he?
Yeah. So
I thought they were in trouble when I saw this lineup, and I saw Yuri Zirkov here. I'm like, that's a problem. And they scored one of the goals down this side. It was the one. I can't even remember he scored. I'm having a great Meunier. The goal Meunier scored was down that side. I can't even remember if he was on the pitch at that point. But they still had problems down the left. Generally, they didn't have a great day. Belgium didn't even play that well. But as Athers has said there, didn't get out of second gear. Russia were poor. Russia, for me, are showing what happens when a team overachieves because of chemicals and then is just kind of rolled out into the next tournament. It's the same team, but without the benefits of chemistry. They're bad. They would have been bad at their own World Cup if they hadn't have been doping, and they've got kicked out of the World Cup, deservedly so, and they shouldn't be allowed back in my opinion, for at least 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. So Belgium not great, but they had the performance. Russia, just Russia in general, bad. Just a quick. So we'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. There's 3 games tomorrow.
There
so we will be back tomorrow.
There is. Oh, so what have we got tomorrow? Let's have a wee look. See,
England's playing tomorrow.
Ah ha ha ha!
So
oh yeah,
England...
we're gonna watch it. We might even do a live stream of us watching it if people want to come and join us. We might do. We never know. But yeah, England against Croatia. Oh, the World Cup semi-final all over again. Then Austria versus North Macedonia and Netherlands versus Ukraine.
Yeah.
As far as
we will definitely be live after Netherlands Ukraine, so we'll definitely be live at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. As far as we're concerned, I'm very excited. Yeah, Croatia. Oh yeah, speaking of the
I wouldn't be surprised at all if Croatia win tomorrow. Not at all.
Speaking of the prediction league,
do we have to?
Yeah, we have to just quickly. So some of us and some of the people close have set up a prediction league. Position, there's 2 people joined first with 4 points. Arn, you're currently enjoying the bottom, being bottom again of another prediction league already so far.
These things happen. That's
there we go.
Yeah, that's going well.
Yep. Look at me, number 3, predicted the first result of the World Cup. The World Cup Euros, Italy beating Turkey 3-0, and could have had an extra. I could have had another perfect prediction if Russia had decided to get doping again and have someone score.
I don't do well at these things. Let's face it.
To be fair, you had Verratti in your Euro Fantasy 2022.
Didn't know he was injured.
Not even realizing he was injured. But listen, thank you guys for joining us. Sorry, we've been a little bit of a loop today. Obviously, a lot of things have happened. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, if you haven't done so, please like and subscribe. There's 108 of you in our league, so surely you will subscribe to us, the ones who we actually know. Because we know where you live. We don't really, but we might do.
I know where some of you
live. See, he does. Right, we will see you all tomorrow for some more chat. Take care. Bye-bye.